staying with us for the monk program? Anybody on the monk program? Who's on the monk program? You're on the monk program? No. Who? Where? Pardon? I can't. Oh, Jason's in between us and the monk. There he is. Hare Krishna. How do we need a translation into French, Spanish? Spanish, French? French. Who will translate? Well, then maybe they can sit close, otherwise it will take time. Jai, Haribo. Today being the disappearance day of Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, one of the prominent acharyas. Acharyas mean they are particularly teaching the method of self-realization, God-realization, by their own actions and by their teachings. So today, Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, in November 1915, which is 109 years ago, he departed this world. He lived about maybe 80, 85 years on this planet. And he taught some very specific, you could say, lessons for devotees or people in general, in one sense, but particularly for those who are trying to progress in spiritual life. It is primarily by the association of such devotees who is understood they do not come into this lifetime due to karma. They certainly don't come because they have material desire, no. They come to satisfy the will of the Lord. They come to give the forgetful souls, which means everyone in this world, an opportunity to realize their spiritual identity and also understand their eternal nature. Generally, people are becoming averse to the very idea of God due to the fact that they have no idea what it means. They've had bad experiences of various, cheating, failure to find answers, and just generally speaking, we could say the nature of a conditioned soul to be somewhat opposed to the principle of a supreme person. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here in the first place. So underlying everything else is our initial, or say, not initial exactly, but our choice to turn our consciousness, our back, on the very idea of service to a Godhead. So these acharyas, the devotee acharyas, they come to teach how we can overcome these various illusions, these various forms of ignorance. So when they come, it's a great opportunity for one and all, highly uplifting for any aspiring spiritualist. And when they leave the planet, it's a great loss. We have not got the opportunity. Jai Shri Shri Gaura Krishna Balaram Radha Govinda Madhava Ki Jai. To have their association, because by association that our consciousness is transformed as we have developed our particular concepts, our particular behavior, our reaction to situations, even our desires. All this is developed over a long time of various associations. The very body which we've got, everything is a result. We can say karma, but that is affected by association and how we respond to association in this material world. So by association we become conditioned in the way we are, and by association that can change. And when we get the association of a self-realized, spiritually advanced personality, it has profound effect on those who take advantage, lesser on those who don't. But it has an effect on everyone who happens to come into their association. So an aspiring devotee very much hankers for the association of an advanced devotee. This is, of course, association is not a physical aspect exactly. It's the chance to hear the truth. It's a chance to hear the path, to reveal the truth. It's a chance to become purified by the words emanating from their lotus mouths. It's a chance to please Krishna by pleasing the representative of God, or Krishna. So when they're physical, so to speak, let's say our conscious or our perceptive association with them is no longer there, it is a great loss for those who are fortunate to have had their association. It's a great loss for everyone, but specific. And it endears, or it brings a deeper bonding, a deeper attachment, a deeper commitment even to follow their teachings to those who are sincere. They leave their teachings so that the future generations can also benefit from their teachings. By hearing about them, one can become enthused, confident, and very happy. Just hearing about the pure devotees of the Lord. So Gaura Kishora Das Babaji was one of these transcendental personalities who come into the world for a few moments, give their association, leave their message for others, ignite the flame of devotion in many people's hearts, and then they unmanifest themselves to our physical vision. So it's natural we feel somewhat lamenting. Even our own spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was lamenting when Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj passed away, because he was the only official disciple of Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. And his lamentation was a little different than ordinary. He was lamenting, "Who will correct me now? Who will chastise me? Who is there who can do this?" He was very lamenting. this guru, initiating spiritual master, had left the world, and he always sought his association to be directed, corrected on the path of bhakti, although he himself, Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj, is also an eternal associate and devotee of the Lord. They relate like this, they feel like this, particularly, of course, from our point of view, to understand the importance of guru-disciple relationship, the importance of the proper attitude of an aspiring devotee, of a disciple. So we'll sing this song, Yeya Nilo Premadhana. Someone on Madanga? Shanta? Shantatma Prabhu? Madanga, please. Yeya Nilo Premadhana Karuna Pucho Karuna Yeya Nilo Premadhana Karuna Pucho Dina Prabhu Kota Kela Charya Thakur Kahamona Swarupupa Kaha Sanata Dasa Raghunatha Patita Bhava Kahamora Patayuga Kaha Kavira Ekakale Kota Kela Ora Nataha Utibo mata Anale Ashivo Golanga Gunara Niri Kota Gilipa Sesama Sangira Sange Ye Koilo Gila Sesangana Paya Kande Narutamada Sesangana Paya Kande Sesangana Paya Kande Narutamada Premadana Koruna Pacho Preanilo Premadana Koruna Pacho Yeyanilo Premadana Karuna Pracho Yeyanilo Premadana Hena Prabhu Kota Kela Charya Thakur Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Shri Gaura Kishora Babaji Maharaj ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. It's also called a day called Ekadashi today. And most of you know what that means. A little fasting, not entirely fasting, although some devotees fast entirely on this day, especially this Ekadashi, because it's the month of Kartik. It's the second Ekadashi of this month, which is considered to be very, very special Ekadashi. And it's also the first day of Bhishma Panchaka. Bhishma Panchaka. I don't say much about that. But many devotees, they fast entirely on this day. Some devotees just fast partially, and some devotees just follow the normal fasting process, which is no grains. But other foodstuffs is acceptable. Whatever it is, it's a very wonderful day today. So on this day, it's nice to hear something, if we can, about Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. Generally, Babajis are they don't socialize much. They're not very sociable, at least not with the general masses. They may socialize amongst themselves, externally and internally, but not with the general mass, who are more concerned with material things. The majority of people are concerned with material sense enjoyment. But sometimes they do to help uplift or awaken the materially minded conditioned souls. So we'll start with the pranams to Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. First to our own Srila Prabhupada. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Pastachare Satarine Namo Vishnu Varaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane Shivashabhani Videvi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipalambara Sambodhe Padam Bhujayate Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, the spiritual master of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, who is renunciation personified. He is always merged in a feeling of separation and intense love for Krishna. Is it an official fast day here till noon or not? Is it or is it not? Some calendars say yes and some say no. No, I think not. Check it out and see. I don't know what it says there. No, there's nothing on the GCal, is there, Masika?
I can't remember.
Oh, well. If someone can check the GCal for Paris, France is a little different than Vrindavan. This is some concessions are there for certain parts of the world. It's an interesting thing because it's probably bad logic, but I was thinking we fast on Bhaktivinoda Thakur's appearance and disappearance days, and it's almost like jumping over if we don't fast on Gaura Kishora. That was my impression. On Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, and there's a gap. And then we fast on Bhakti Vinod, and we fast on Bhakti Siddhanta, and then we don't fast on Gaura Kishora. I don't know if that's bad logic, but it sounds a little odd to me. But anyway, what do they say? If you discover the truth? Huh? Whatever it is, we can at least remember him.
Normally for acharyas we fast until noon, yeah? Normally for
No.
acharyas we fast until noon, so this should not be exception to that.
Well, not because of Ekadashi. What is this? Where's this calendar from, though? Where from? Huh? Is this the? Have you found it, Paris, TCal? We're in France. We're not in Vrindavan.
No, this is not Vrindavan.
Oh, it's not Vrindavan.
No, it's
Where is it from?
Location.
Paris. Oh my goodness, we're not in Paris either. But it says here, I don't know where it comes from, to donate. If you like to donate, you can thank the developers. That's what it says. That's everywhere you look, and anything to do with France, it's please donate. Anyway, you've lost. That's Sao Paulo. They're very austere in Sao Paulo in Brazil. Anyway, it says on there, fasting till noon. I don't know what it says there. It's not saying anything. Huh? Nothing. Well, what can I say? I've opened up a can of worms, but don't eat them. You decide what you want to do. I'm not the authority here to say. Let's see. What's that beautiful song? This is a beautiful song. Maha Bhagavata Bara Shri Gaura Kishora Bara Hari Bhajane Te Jara Moda. You know the song written by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati about the disciplic succession. You may know it by another name. Krishna Hoiti Chato Mukha. Very nice song of how spiritual knowledge comes down through the parampara. Parampara means disciplic succession of great devotees of the Lord. So it means Bhakti Vinod Thakur, who was the previous representative, his intimate friend and associate was the eminent Mahabhagavat Sri Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, whose sole joy was found in Hari Bhajan, glorification of God. Oh, so much joy is there. So we may be lamenting about his departure, but Bhakti Vinod also wrote a very famous poem, a stanza. He reasons ill who tell that Vaishnavas die while thou art living still in sound. The Vaishnavas die to live, and living try to spread the holy life around. Sometimes we say holy name, but the actual word is life. Same thing in one sense. Let's see. I didn't realize until I opened up this song that I had a PowerPoint presentation about him. Pardon? Too late now, I haven't got any wires or anything. But it's okay. It's not. I don't think it's very long. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wrote, this is the spiritual master of our Srila Prabhupada and the disciple of Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. He wrote, I've been busy within this material world trying to bring sense gratification within the grasp of my hand, which is basically what we're all trying to do, isn't it? Even in mixed in devotional service at our stage, we're still interested in sense gratification, what I want. Sense gratification basically means what I want or what I think I want. Devotional service means what Krishna wants. They're not always compatible. Sometimes they can be, and sometimes they're not compatible, or at least compatible for our progress. I've often thought that by obtaining the objects of sense gratification, all my short givings will be fulfilled. If I could only get this, then I'll be happy. If I can get a nice house, a nice family, a nice car, I can get a good job, good position, whatever it is, comfort, relief, something or another, recognition, whatever it is, all various forms of sense gratification. I often attained different facets that were very rare indeed, but my own personal shortcomings were never mitigated. No matter how much we get in this material world, we're never satisfied. We always want more. However rich we are, beautiful we are, famous we are, knowledgeable we are, even renunciation, everything. We want more and more and more. Strength, whatever it is. In this material world, I have had the association of very aristocratic persons. However, seeing their various deficiencies, I could not offer them praise. The most merciful Supreme Lord, Sri Gaura Sundar, seeing me in such a lamentable condition at a time of adversity, gave permission to his two dearmost devotees, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur and Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, to grant their blessings to me. Because I was always intoxicated with a worldly false ego. Are you leaving us?
I'm planning to distribute books.
You can wait a few minutes or not?
Because the bus saves us money and the bus is just at 8:49.
Where are you going?
In Chateau.
Oh. Alone?
Yeah.
Unusual. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Should I, if I don't have to do it?
Well, I'm not your authority. It's what time are you going to Chateau? No, you're not going to Chateau. Also going?
No, it's okay. I stay.
It's usually we stay for class, usually. Because I was always intoxicated with a worldly false ego, wanting to be repeatedly praised or recognized, I deprived myself of my own real benefit. We think that being praised or recognized is a very important thing. Well, maybe for neophyte life or childlike mentality, it does have its important part at a certain stage. But it's not the goal. We should grow beyond that and recognize Krishna and praise other great souls. But because of the influence of my previous birth activities in devotional service, I came into the association of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who was the form of my spiritual well-wisher. My spiritual master, Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji, would go and visit Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and many times would reside with him. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, out of his compassion for other living entities, pointed out my spiritual master, Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji. Upon seeing my spiritual master, the extent of my worldly false ego. Not translating too fast? Okay, I'll slow down a little bit. The extent of my worldly false ego diminished. I knew that all the other living entities who have taken the human form of life were also fallen and low like myself. But by gradually observing the spiritual character of my master, I realized that only a Vaishnava could reside in this material world and be of exemplary character. There's a very famous verse. This is in the 10th canto, Srimad Bhagavatam. Doesn't say the verse number here, I can't remember. It's in the 33rd chapter. It's dealing with the pastimes of Rasa, of Rasa Leela, basically. The intimate pastimes of Krishna and his most confidential associates, the gopis. And how difficult this is to understand. So to understand that, but to understand the behavior of great devotees sometimes is also quite difficult to understand, to say the least. Usually, when great devotees come into the association of ignorant persons, those who are ignorant of spiritual truths, they don't display their inner devotion so much, their inner ecstasy. They restrain and they relate to those that they are with. Just like a teacher at school may be teaching little children ABC, 1, 2, 3. But that is not the extent of the teacher's knowledge. But the ability of the student is the factor that determines the teaching, basically. Their capacity to digest and not misunderstand is presented in a way that they can relate. So pure devotees generally speak, just like we see in the Bible, Jesus Christ, also an eternal associate of the Supreme Lord, coming into this world to enlighten people. He himself apparently said, "There are many things I have to tell you, but you're not yet ready. You cannot even follow that which I'm telling you of this world, what to speak about next." So unless we can digest, like you're taking a meal and you haven't digested the previous one and you take another one, how do you feel? How do you feel?
Bad.
Pardon?
Bad.
Bad. Well, you generally get, and you had that experience, I think, or you overate, you told me yesterday. And that's another thing, of course, eating more than we can digest. But if you've eaten something and then you want to eat something else 1 hour later, you haven't digested the previous one. You get, what do they call it? Constipation. Some stomach problem, huh? Then you can't pass. Whatever. So we have to be able to digest according to our capacity. And then we can eat more or go forward. We have to know the order of eating. You don't Yeah, there's a proper order actually in eating also, proper way of eating. All has to be understood if we want to digest nicely. So pure devotees don't generally reveal more than required. They may indicate in their writings, sometimes in their words, in their teachings, but rarely in their behavior do they manifest the actual state of consciousness of somebody who's on a platform beyond our imagination. Krishna consciousness is not imagination. The danger, see, is the word imagine, it related, imagine, image, imitate, they all come from the same source. Our imagination, we sometimes try to imitate. We sometimes try to imitate. Sometimes devotees, Prabhupada, our spiritual master, talks about it. Sometimes devotees go off to meet with the Babajis in Radhakund or somewhere or another. I would say nothing about their eligibility, but the eligibility of the devotee who goes is the question in hand. How eligible are we to associate with persons on a high level of devotional service as such, in a way which is good? It's true that Prabhupada said, imitation of a good thing is good. But we have to know what is a good thing. It may not be a good thing for us. We may not be able to eat it or digest it. We may get proud. We may start thinking I'm better than others. We may start thinking those people don't know what they're doing over there. All kinds of, let's say, unbecoming states of consciousness may develop. We may give up our relationship with our Guru. All kinds of disasters may awake. What to speak of material desire? It doesn't go away just by some external idea or imagining that I am something I'm not. The whole material world is based on that. We're imagining, we're not even aware of it, that I am this body, that I am a man, that I am a woman, that I am American, French, English, Indian, whatever it is. It's all reflection of reality. It's not the real thing. Image. What is imagination? What is imitate? Imitate somebody. What is imitate? What does it mean, imitate? What does imitate mean? Trying to be someone you're not. Trying to cover it over so that people think you are also, isn't it? You want people to recognize you for something which you're not. You're trying to put on a show. Devotional service is not a show. The process is to follow, Mahajana Yena Kataksapanta, to follow these pure devotees, so they will teach us that which we can follow. If you are a little boy or girl, and you are doing athletics, I'm sure we've all had that experience. At school, maybe you had to jump. Did you have the high jump at school? You have to jump over a bar. Did you do that during the athletics or not? I don't know. Yes? And, if the teacher says, okay, you're like 4 foot tall. The bar's only 20 feet tall. Come on, jump. What's wrong with you? Jump over the bar. You're not going to get very far. You're going to become averse to jumping altogether because you're going to be a failure. Even if it's 4 feet high, you're not going to make it. Okay, the bar is 2 foot tall, higher. You'll talk half a meter maybe. Jump, and you can. It gives you an incentive to go forward. Huh? But if the bar's too high, you give up. This is ridiculous. Even the teacher can't jump it. How do you expect me to jump it? This is not fair. You develop negativity. Or if it's too low, you think, oh, this is stupid, This is an insult. It's 20 centimeters high. Well, see if you can jump it. Come on, see if you can jump it. It's 20 centimeters. You have to have the appropriate situation. It was very difficult. If those great souls would reveal themselves. Sometimes they do, but they generally keep themselves away from public vision. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji was, to a large extent, one of those great Babajis who did behave in unknown, unbecoming ways from the ordinary perspective, even from aspiring sadhaks, those who were practicing the basics of devotional service, would have a hard time understanding some of his behavior. Even when he initiated Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj, that's a whole saga, we may not have time to speak on that. He gave him 3 or 4 pieces of rope to chant on, that was his japa. With no beads. Gave him a tiger cap, whatever that's got to do, made of tiger skin. A few other bits and pieces he gave him. Nothing of any kind of mundane value. He would just pick up cloth at the crematorium. He would wear, when people when they die in India, they burn them, and they discard the cloth sometimes, which was wrapped around them. He would take that cloth. That was his cloth. Nobody cared about that. He would go there and pick it up, wear it. If he ever cooked, he would just get rejected pots, especially on solar eclipses. People throw their pots away, so he would take those little clay pots and use them. All sorts of strange things. He had no, let's say, impure concept of this material. There was only one rule, and that was love for Krishna. Pure love of Krishna. He would sometimes not even dress at all. But we don't imitate these personalities. We try to learn from them. So let's see, here's one lesson, and this is taught. Even a most learned scholar, when he was aware, there are different translations, aware of all of the Shastric statements and everything, very learned, even they cannot understand the activities and symptoms of an exalted personality in whose heart love of God has awakened. We can't understand it. We try to measure it according to our own capacity. Like a child cannot understand many things, only little things. It doesn't register. An animal cannot understand. I can't understand how a computer works. It's mystifying. Mystifying. So what to speak of an exalted, self-realized spiritual personality. When a person is actually advanced and takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord, who is very dear to him, he's agitated and loudly chants the holy name. We can't imagine. We're struggling to chant. Our mind is all over the universe. If it's all conscious, we may be fast asleep while we're trying to chant, because chanting usually stops. But our mind is somewhere else. But one had actually realized their relationship with Krishna, that the name is Krishna. They're in ecstasy, mad ecstasy, in the association of Krishna. He laughs, cries, becomes agitated, and chants just like a madman, not caring. Who cares for everything else? Even a lover. In this world sometimes, they don't really care about what people think of them, around them. They're embracing and kissing, and if it wasn't the fear of law, they might go even further. Nothing else really matters. It's some reflection of purity. But even in this world, that's the example sometimes is there. They're not people on their mobile phones. They love their mobile phones. So they're oblivious of others around them. They sometimes shout, and you're in the train, so they start shouting on the phone at someone or talking loudly. They're almost oblivious of where they are. They're so tuned in to their dream-like world. So to understand such great devotees is not easy. And for sure we shouldn't try to imitate them when they do behave in ways which are, for us, we're not on that level of devotion or realization. Another lesson. This is a letter from Prabhupada, our Prabhupada. 1967, early days. To think of becoming a fool is the real qualification for a bona fide disciple. As soon as one thinks that he has become the wiser man than the spiritual master, one is surely doomed. We should remain everlastingly a fool before the spiritual master, not artificially, but feelingly, and then we can make real progress. That doesn't mean we purposely behave like a fool, but we should feel ourselves insignificant. We should feel ourselves very, very humble. No, I know nothing. My only hope is to be corrected by my Guru Maharaj. Not artificially, but feelingly, and then we can make real progress. Even my spiritual master, another disciple, never argues with the spiritual master thinking they know better, or never criticizes because the spiritual master didn't say the right word or got the wrong thing externally. This type of relative perspective is very dangerous. Even my spiritual master, a great scholar, remained a so-called fool before his spiritual master, who was outwardly an illiterate village fellow. He was born in a simple family in Bangladesh. He was married for about 25 years. He worked as a grain dealer. He couldn't even sign his own name. He was practically illiterate. Materially. Someone may criticize all of this. But after his wife's demise, he left what is now called Bangladesh, and he went to Vrindavan. And there he took initiation from Bhagavat Das Babaji, who was the prime disciple of Jagannath Das Babaji. He took initiation, Babaji initiation from him. And then he lived in Vrindavan for quite a few years. Not long. But in 1897, he went to Navadvip and spent the rest, 18 years of his presence in Navadvip. And there he associated with Bhakti Vinod Thakur and gave initiation to Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati. And most of our, let's say, information about him comes from that period, because Bhakti Vinod Thakur had recorded some of that, and others also. Not much is said about his sojourn in Vrindavan at all. Very little. So in the absolute world, the fool is also the master. And the master is also a fool in reciprocal dealings. We're all understanding the word fool. It means, what does it mean? In the material world, it means somebody who's behaving in a stupid way. Misbehavior. But in the spiritual sense, it means seeing oneself as insignificant. Gopi Bharta Pada Kamalam Dasa 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 Anudasa. The one is the servant of the servant, 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 servant. I have no knowledge, Prabhupada wrote. I have no knowledge, I have no devotion. I have nothing. Everything is your mercy, Krishna. Not that we own anything, not that we have great qualifications as we may sometimes think we do. Everything is the mercy of Guru and Krishna. Everything. That's all that we're made of, Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings. Your mercy is all that I am made of. I have nothing of value. We're proud, completely devoid of pride. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also accepted himself a great fool before his spiritual master. And all of us must follow the transcendental process. The spiritual master Ishwara Puri said, "You are a fool. You cannot understand the Vedas, the scriptures. Simply chant Hare Krishna." Letter to Srila Prabhupada to Roy Ram. One should not imitate the behavior of an advanced devotee or a Mahabhagavat without being self-realized. For by such imitation, one will eventually become degraded. That's Prabhupada's words from the purport of the Nectar of Instruction, text number 5. Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj compiled a song, which this is quoted in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Dushtamana tumi kishara vaishnava prastishtara tare nirjana garitava harinam kevala kaitava. My dear mind, you are trying to imitate Haridas Thakur and chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra in a secluded place. But you are not worth being called a Vaishnava because what you want is cheap popularity and not the actual qualification of Haridas Thakur. If you try to imitate him, you will fall down, for your neophyte position will cause you to think of women and money. Thus you will fall into the clutches of Maya, and your so-called chanting in a secluded place will bring about your downfall. One of the characteristics or qualifications for Krishna consciousness is a Kinchana Gochara. What is a Kinchana Gochara? What does it mean? This is spoken by Kunti Devi. Huh?
No material possessions.
Pardon?
No material possessions.
No, you could say no material possessions, impoverished, but it means much deeper than that also. That's, you could say, the direct understanding. Even though one may have one of Rupa Goswami's main teachings, Nibbandha Krishna Sambandhe Yukta Viraga Uchite, is that we don't reject anything that can be used in Krishna's service, even opulence, materially speaking. Because a devotee sees it as Krishna's, not his own. A devotee has nothing materially. Although it appears they may have. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a grihastha. He was working, married man, many children, big position in the judicial world. Sometimes devotees are seen very opulent and rich, but they're completely detached from the mentality of thinking it's mine. This is the real Akinchana Gochara. That even if there's one thing, if you have nothing of value materially, it's another thing that you have material opulence, but we're not attached to it. We use it for Krishna. We protect it, use it, etc., as best we can in Krishna's service. So that's the understanding, at least in relationship with this world, that the Acharya teaches us. However, Gaura Das Babaji, he himself had no material possessions. What did he possess? Next to nothing. Next to nothing. He had one or two books. Bhakti Prema Chandra, was it? Prema Bhakti Chandrika, book of Narottam Das Thakur, and one or two other literatures. Next to nothing. He had no clothes of his own, nothing, nowhere to live. Sometimes he would live in toilets, latrines, just to keep ordinary people away. Different things. But he had no home. He had no money. Nothing. No insurance policy. Who will look after me when I get old? Who will feed me? He had nothing. He just totally depended on Krishna. In his later years, he became blind, physically blind. And Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj was trying to get him to go to Calcutta, before he became blind at least, to get some treatment. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji replied, I will never go to the illusory world of Calcutta. The illusory world of Calcutta, or whatever they call it now, Calicut. Even Jayapataka Maharaj told the story when he was maybe in early 70s, when he was in Bengal. He was trying to learn Bengali, because he learned it perfectly. But then he was just learning. So he was trying to converse with one local farmer and asking some simple question. Have you ever been to Calcutta? The farmer answered once. Yes, I went once, but I will never go again. He asked him why not. I will never go to that hellish place, he said, ever again. Calcutta. This is back in 1970s. I saw a man holding a woman's hand in Calcutta. I will never go to that place ever again. So disgusting, he said. Can you imagine? Things have changed a little bit, even in Calcutta. Huh? At least he's holding a woman's hand. We could go on and on. Okay, I'm going to jump out of this. I don't even know how long. I didn't even see it till we started. He would never accept service from others. He would always see on. We see this many times with great devotees. They consider themselves unqualified, obviously. But this tendency to see oneself as being an object of others' service is basically the basic reason we're in this material world. We want to be served. We want to be in the center, not Krishna. So, this tendency to be served, I'm an important person, do what I say, is a great obstacle. Pure devotee doesn't think that I'm a great person. His giving instruction to others is his service to them, not his master, being masterly over them. We're here to become servants of the servants. He was nirapeksha, which means indifferent to friends and enemies. He had no friends, no enemy. He said, in this material world, I am all alone in my service to Lord Krishna. Everyone is worshipable by me, even those who didn't like him, those who, whatever it was. As far as he's concerned, it's all the same. Those who are Babajis, of course, we're not on that level. We have to discriminate. But pure devotees of this caliber do not need to discriminate. Even though it appeared that Gaura Kishora Babaji was not a learned Sanskrit scholar, the purport and conclusions of all scriptures were luminous in his heart and character. I think Prabhupada said, whenever any need was there, it would come out immediately. The conclusion of Shastra. He was always right. He had this ability to see people's consciousness. Even though they would come with some hidden agenda, he could see the agenda and he would deal with the agenda rather than the question they asked. Seeing their actual hidden intentions, he would go right to the point, if ever he did converse with people in general. He instructed householders, oftentimes householders would come to him. It should be noted, our Prabhupada said, that a grihastha that must not make his livelihood by begging from anyone. Every householder of the higher caste should engage himself in his own occupational duty as a Brahmin, Kshatriya or Vaishya. But he should not engage in the service of others, for this is the duty of a Shudra. Another more ordinary person who most people are Shudras, they work for others. But others, they're not supposed to. Now this, of course, is a question or point for modern society, but that's another topic. But the main point is that we should act according to our nature. Imitation is not just trying to be something we're not in terms of perhaps some worldly recognition, but in terms of trying to do some other activity which is not our nature, trying to follow someone else's path in terms of their occupational duty. There's also some, can be considered to be imitation. So one has to perform one's duty. One should simply accept whatever he earns by his own profession. This is in relation to one man who wanted to come to the Holy Land of Navadvip and start a pharmacy there to treat the poor, sick people of that area. So he didn't get much encouragement from Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj said Murari Gupta could treat, associate of Lord Chaitanya, could treat both bodily and spiritual disease because he was a physician by profession and a great devotee of the Lord in terms of spiritual advancement. This is the example of service to humanity. The idea is not just to help people with eye problems or whatever is cataracts or some kind of disease of some kind. That's not the idea. The idea is to real welfare is to wake them up to Krishna consciousness. So he could see the man's intention was to start a pharmacy, get some recognition, and so on. That's not the idea. The only purpose is to bring people to Krishna consciousness. And he also made it quite clear that if anyone has any material, just like recently we had the appearance of Radha Kund, about 2 or 3 weeks past, and what it really means to enter into Radha Kund, what it really means to bathe in Radha Kund. Bhakti Siddhanta Maharaj said, one who has any material desire cannot bathe in Radha Kund. It's like dunking a bag of bones and stool into a pond. What is that? I'm now dunking a bag of bones and stool into Radha Kund. What type of mentality is that? There are other angles of looking at it. But as long as we have material desires, we cannot actually enter into Radha Kund. And in one sense, the holy Dham also. We can enter there, and if we associate with the pure devotees of the Lord, we may become purified. The benefit of holy places is that great devotees are there. And by their association, we may be freed of these material objectives, freed of all these coverings of the self, and start to awaken our attraction to Krishna in their association. But most people go to the holy Dham. Yasyasta Bhaktir Bhagavat. No. Yasyatma Buddhi Kunape Tatadake Sadi Karatadishu Boma Judi. Yatirta Buddhi Shrile Nakai Chik Janesha Bigeshe Bhagokar. Most people go to the holy Dham to get free of their sinful reactions. They go there with a material bodily concept of life. They go there thinking, I am a Hindu, an Indian, a Christian, a Buddhist, a monk, whatever we are, think we are. We're attached to this material world. These are my family members. This is my mother, my children, my husband, my wife, whatever. And they don't care to listen. They tolerate. Guru Kishora Das Babaji said this to one householder. You tolerate so many insults from your family members, but you don't tolerate one criticism from a sadhu. As soon as they give you a strong statement. Oh, I'm not going to go there again. What type of sadhu is this? They should be nice to me. Sadhu's business is to cut out all of this illusion, not just to facilitate it, to praise us for our illusion. They can see us through this, see through this mirage, this illusion that we're in. And that's not very comfortable for the receiver, that's for sure. So he would be very strict and very strong like that. And as far as residing in the Holy Dham, there was one personality who said they had some land in the Holy Dham. They purchased some land. And he said, who are you to purchase land in the Holy Dham? It doesn't belong to you or anyone else to purchase it from. You have no business purchasing. You still have material. You're seeing it as a property, as yours. This is my apartment, my house, my land. This is completely contrary to the meaning of the Holy Dham. You come here to become free of this mentality by hearing from saintly persons. But unfortunately, Ganesha Bhigeshsa Eva Gokara, people go there, they're not interested to be changed. They don't want to hear from great saintly persons. Some do, but most don't. Now we could go on. Hare Krishna. I'll just finish with, as we were fasting today, I'll just finish with one thing on prasadam. Is this prasadam? Here. No, here's prasadam. Oh, it disappeared off the screen. Oh, here it comes. Don't eat food of non-devotees. Never eat food from those who are not following, and especially from those who eat meat and fish. To offer foodstuff to the Supreme Lord that have been contaminated by one's lusty desires should be considered a great offense. If preparations favored by the great devotees of the Lord are offered, then the offering is considered proper. One should eat only what is necessary for sustaining his worship of Hari. If one accepts more than he needs, his heart will become contaminated, and an obstruction will arise in his worship of Lord Hari. When one eats food offered by a materialistic man, one's mind becomes contaminated. And when the mind becomes contaminated, one is unable to think of Krishna properly. When one accepts an invitation from a person contaminated by the material mode of passion, the person who offers the food and the person who accepts it are both mentally contaminated. He also says, as not mentioned here, that if we offer food, which I like, if that's the consideration of what we offer, that is not really considered to be prasadam. We have to offer the Lord what the pure devotees like. That's especially in the temple. At home, there may be some different considerations. You have children, you have health considerations, and many other things. But in the temple, the offering to the deity should be what Krishna wants, as taught by the pure devotees of the Lord. That's how we change our mentality. And if others need special prasadam, that's something else on top of that. But not that the deities should get food because that's what we want, due to our conditioning. You can maybe offer that too, but that's as well as. It's not something instead of. Anyway, these are just a few little lessons which he taught. There are many, many more, it looks like. Well, eligibility to hear Astakalya Leela, false devotion, illicit sex. So many things here. I didn't realize I had this. Hare Krishna. Oh, festivals today, festival. So he said tomorrow, well, this is not the festival today. He said tomorrow is the appearance day of Rupa Goswami. We will have a festival. So he had somebody with him, kind of an assistant kind of thing. He said, Babaji Maharaj, how will we have a festival? We have nothing. He said, yes, we have everything. Tomorrow we will completely fast and just chant non-stop all day long. This way we will have a festival. Prabhupada said that about Kartik when one devotee asked him, what should we do during Kartik, Srila Prabhupada? What vratas? What austerities? And Prabhupada looked at the devotee and said, 1972, he said, Kartik means no eating, no sleeping, chanting 24 hours a day, every day. And that was, and he went on to the top. The devotee was, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Prabhupada said, that's another foolishness, you cannot do it. We're not here for that necessarily. Ideally, that's the situation. That was his idea. And even if he did eat, it was next to nothing. He would take some broken rice and just soak it, and he wouldn't even cook it. Or he'd take mud from the river Ganga and eat that much of the time. We can't imitate these personalities. So a level beyond this material world. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna. It's late. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. See you this evening for Damodar. How many more days are there this month? 4?
Yeah.
Including today?
Today is the 26th today, yes. So
29. 4 more days of this glorious month of Kartik. Friday? Last day. So tonight, Damodar Arti, Damodar Puja. Everyone come. That's the austerity Prabhupada said. We sing this song, we offer lamps to Damodar every day. He didn't say much more, really. Didn't do much more. If you want, you can. Hare Krishna. Prabhupada said about devotees, said every day is Kartik. We follow every day. For people in general, they don't. But for devotees, they should every day. Chanting, hearing, remembering, worshipping, serving. Okay. Hare Krishna.
Maharaj ki jai.